We are back, guys, getting ready to go into Vex versus Nexus Champ. We've had some great matches today, all of which have been 2-0s.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the way that a lot of heroes matches go. We see, I mean, I've been hosting a recent cup, and I think we've seen maybe one or two games that went the full set. Almost always it's just 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, whatever. Um, and even in the Asian tournament that I just casted, there was only one game that went the full set, or even past the minimum number of games. So that's a thing. Heroes seems to be in general that if one team is better, they are blatantly better, just right now. And it's starting to mix and match. We see a lot of close games. Don't get me wrong on that, but it usually is that one team will take it over another one, and well, that's obvious that they win a game, but one team will take the whole set over another one in a majority fashion. So we'll see that be a little bit closer as time goes on, as teams start to kind of feel each other out. They try to figure out what strategies each team has, what picks and bans they are, and as teams start to learn how to draft a little bit better, there's a lot of teams in the game right now that they're not necessarily new to competitive gaming, but they're also new to drafting, new to the way that teams play with each other. So it's something that's developing, and it's cool to see it in progress.
Definitely. Um, just speechless. Great matches.
Yeah, yeah.
Snowflake and Glorious coming to play. And got to give it to both Resurgence and Tempest. I mean, they played really well, and they were just so close. Tons of fights where everybody was leaving with very little health. So great job on them. But now we're going to head in to Vex versus Nexus Champ. Let's head into the drafting. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let me go ahead and fix that. There we go. All right. So we're headed into the draft right now. I know some of you, if you were here earlier, may have seen it already, but we're going to go over it again.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. I mean, Vex, we've seen some Stitches bans, we've seen some Arthas bans, we've seen a wide variety of bans. We've seen Tyrael, Zeratul, Stitches,
Right, right.
Arthas, Chen even, and there's Chen ban right there. What do you think Vex is planning to like do against Nexus Champ? I know it's hard since we don't have any hero selects up right now, but
Well, I mean, I think a lot of teams right now are still having a tough time adjusting to the new heroes, specifically Chen and Anubarak. So some of them they're just saying, you know what, we don't want to deal with this. We have a pretty decent understanding of the rest of the matchups, so we'll just not. Yeah, so there you go. So they're just like, you know what, let's just put that on the back burner. We'll play our game. We'll worry about them later, and that's just kind of what they do. And again, I'm gonna harp on this, but for me, those two heroes are very similar to the other warriors we have already. So it's not the worst if you have, because they are, kind of close to what we've seen in the past, but just kind of not wanting to deal with them in the first place. So they get rid of them.
mhm.
They don't have to worry about any kind of nonsense happening, and they'll just do a normal draft that we would have seen maybe a couple of weeks ago. And we do see that Tyrael does come out first. He is, always a thing.
Tyrael's always a
So
strong pick, especially when two big tanky people are taking out Chen and Anubarak. That does leave Arthas, but I don't really think Tyrael's too worried, as he can just ult right past to whoever he wants.
yeah, I would be surprised if Nexus Champ didn't pick up Arthas and Tychus, which actually they don't. They opt for Uther. So
We are on
interesting play there.
Dragonfire, by the way, guys.
Yes, yes. The interesting play there, or interesting draft there, as they are going to be leaving open Tassadar and and Arthas for Vex if they want to take that, and that's super scary to me. Granted, they won't have Falstead if they decide to pick up Tass and Arthas, but okay, so they're going to pick Falstead. They pick Falstead, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Arthas here, just because it'll give them so much lockdown, and it will basically starve out the Warriors from Nexus Champ.
think Tyrael False had strong picks, and Nexus Champ getting the Tychus Uther. I mean, Uther is a top tier pick, and like you were saying, Glorious doesn't seem to fear them. So, do you think Vex is a little? I think Vex is going to be a little bit scared. I mean, now they're left with Rehgar, and that's not much of a front liner in comparison to the Uther. So, depending on who Nexus Champ picks here, I mean, if they go for Arthas, Vex has to be a little bit intimidated because that doesn't leave him with much to try and ward off Uther and Arthas. And I mean, it's on Dragonshire, so I could see a Brightwing pick to be their kind of counter engagement. Possibly. I don't know. It looks like their time is winding down now, though. Chat's going crazy right now.
Vex still has the option for a lot of things.
Oh, I'm getting a little bit of lag on my end. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. I waited it out. It's still. I don't know. We'll see if we get caught up real soon. But okay, so we do see Tassadar. I'm not sure how good of a pick that was because it's going to leave Arthas open. So now both teams are going to have a frontline engager, but they also have the follow-up. Nexus Champ just has so much more follow-up right now. They do have safe damage from Falstead. He can shock and awe after Judgment goes down, but when it comes right down to it, there's so much more frontline from Nexus Champ, and because we are on Dragonshire, that's a really big deal. There's a lot of places where skirmishes happen in tight quarters. There's a lot of places where Divine Storms can get full utility. There's a lot of places where Frozen Tempest can do a lot of damage. We have Howling Blast that can just lock people up, and Vala has the option of taking both Strafe and
Rain of Vengeance.
Rain of Vengeance, there we go. Because of those narrow passageways. So if they force fights on Giants, if they force fights on Knights, they'll be able to just drop everything at once, and there's really no counterplay from Vex that I can see that's going to be super strong for them. But a Brightwing is a good pick here, because as we saw earlier, Emerald Wind can do a lot of work. It can push people away from being safe and just kind of ruin any kind of engagement that comes out. So that's a good idea, and I like that pickup. Still very squishy lineup from Vex, so if they don't win a fight at the start, kind of scary stuff.
Very scary. I mean, Tyrael, he's not going to be able to hold back both an Uther and an Arthas. Brightwing's going to have to land some great, I forget her ultimate. I don't play support. I apologize. She's going to have to land some great pushbacks. So otherwise, Vex is going to get initiated on very, very hard. Rehgar picked up, so we have the double support by Nexus Champ. Tychus, Uther, Arthas, Vala, and Rehgar. That is a lot of damage and sustainability for Nexus Champ. I mean, they are lacking a little bit in damage in comparison to Vex, but that's such a big front line.
The Bloodlust will make up for it.
Yeah, I think the Bloodlust will make up for that.
Bloodlust
for sure,
Odin, yeah. Bloodlust Vala. If Vala goes with a Manticore build and or even just a Searing Attack build at the beginning of a Bloodlust, whoever they decide to focus in on, if they have Odin and the Searing Attack Vala just firing shots into them, just destruction, like absolute destruction. They have such a big front line. It's going to be really hard for Nova to do a whole lot of anything against Arthas. If she outsteps her bounds, Arthas will be able to just collapse in on her, blow her up. There's really not that much. There's not that much that she can do to get away. Almost everybody on Nexus Champ has a really easy way of revealing her. Uther can Wave of Light her. We have grenades from Tychus. We have Frozen Tempest from Arthas. We have multi-shot from Vala. You can hit with the Hungering Arrow, but it's really hard to do to knock her out of stealth. So there's a lot of options there for them, and this is going to be it's pretty much a skill matchup. If Vex plays this correctly, if they position appropriately and hit all their skill shots that they need to hit, they'll be fine. If they miss even a couple of them, really bad things are going to happen, and they're going to come down on them very hard.
Definitely, I agree fully. Now, I am in this replay. How about you, good sir?
I am. I'm ready to go whenever you are.
All right, let me just get this overlay ready. Hold on, gotta find the right one. Sorry.
It's okay. We'll do this. We'll do it together. We'll be able to make it.
There we go. Oops.
It's all right.
Don't mind the beeping, guys. It's all part of the game. Okay.
Yes. Let's see. Correcto. Whatever you want, I will follow your lead and we'll get into the game.
All right, I am ready when you are.
All right, count it down.
3, 2, 1, go. So let's see, we got Vex.
Vex is on the left side, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yes, so we do have Vex on blue. We have Brightwing going solo top with Galissa playing it. We have Sage on Tassadar in the bottom lane. Rafsa on Nova, Crexus on Falstead, and Icebox on Tyrael. And what are we seeing on the other side?
Looks like we got Old One Eye on Uther. We got Vothin on Rhaegar. D-Day Drazen on Arthas. Skippy on Vala with that very nice Horde Wolf Mount and the white. I love the combination. And
Magic
AG
set.
Echo on Tychus.
Yeah, so I mean they have a pretty good setup all around. They are possibly gonna get jumped in on mid, but a nice little totem goes down. Sees Crexus, does not, however, see Nova and Icebox. Actually, I'm on faster. Make sure you're not on faster.
Oh, I'm on normal right now. I am
Alright,
at
good.
107.
All right, good.
Cool. So right now, just standard laning. Definitely a little bit afraid to check that mid to bot brush. Nice totem placing down just to keep an eye on them. You don't really want to go face check because that could be instant death, especially when there's a Nova and a Falstad on the other team. You're not really going to get out of that.
Yeah, really, really dangerous stuff.
Ooh, Brightwing being a little bit aggressive. A stun goes down by Old One Eye. Arth is going in with his snare, and that's slow. I don't know if Brightwing can get away. Tychus trying to overdrive. The knockback by Tychus, and Brightwing gets away. I think there may have been a little bit of misplay and body blocking from his teammates on Arthas to let Brightwing get out of that.
Yeah, it was a tiny bit of misplay, but the pressure is down, so that's really good. And the thing with solo lane Brightwing is she can't actually just back to Fountain and then teleport back up because she needs someone to teleport to. So forcing her to pop well was really good, and Crexus actually going to pick the right time to say like, I don't want to be here.
Oh, Skippy dropping very low. Icebox going in, barely getting out of there.
One more smite would have been the kill, but not able to do it right there. We do see D-Day walking past Rafsa now. You know, just casual stuff, saying hi, what's up?
We got a
And
little
we
bit
have
of a support battle at top.
They're just gonna punch each other until one of them gets out healed. I believe Brightwing pretty much wins this as long as she doesn't get hit by a bunch of spells, but even then, her passive healing will outdo
Arthas and
anything that
Tychus going for an early Giants. Brightwing's blinking in onto the Tychus, or Tyrael. Arthas dropping very quickly, and that's going to scare them off of Giants, and that's a huge pickup for Vex Gaming to stop them at Giants and take them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it gave them a little bit of a level advantage, and while it is very slight, it won't give them a tier advantage just yet. But what it will do is allow them to get to level 7 and level 10 earlier if they stay on the same pace, and that is really, really important for Dragonshire as they can force fights around the map at level 10 very easily. Old One Eye actually going to get hit pretty hard in top lane.
I'm actually pretty shocked at Falstad pushing the lane. Rhaegar was all the way back to his towers, and the lane was pushing in his favor. And I almost feel that he could have kept it where it was, and Rhaegar wouldn't have been able to soak. So, don't know if he was in range or not, but that could have come into play if he wanted it to, I guess. And it looks like they're shaping up for Knights. Nexus champ dancing around the Knights, but deciding not to go for it.
Yeah, I think they're worried about losing the shrines right now and making sure that they don't have an early Dragon Knight on their base, but early Dragon Knights, while they are good, they don't do too much. Dragon Knight damage scales very well into the late game, but not so much in the early game. So giving away that first one, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, you don't want to do it, but it's not something like 100 skill golem on mines where it's just like, oh my god, this hurts so bad. And Skippy going to take a shot right to the head. No big deal.
Pick up on Giants for Vex, and they're going for those bottom Giants. A bribe used by Brightwing, and looks like they're going to get those Giants for free. And now it looks like a good time. There goes Nexus champ starting up for their Knights.
Yeah, pretty good time there. They're able to do it. They know that they have top lane secured because Brightwing is not in there. So they know that they don't have to worry about Shrine being taken. They know that they're not going to have to worry about any experience difference. And I like the call from Vex to actually get the Giants. It does end up with them being a little bit behind in experience lead, but the pressure that they have on bottom right now is way, way stronger than anything else on the map. They have 4 Giants pushing, and it's going to draw at least 2 people down there, if not 3. They could force a fight.
Looks like Tyrael's going in. Arthur's dropping very low, and he is barely gonna get away. One smite, one snipe, one auto attack, one anything, and Arthur's would have dropped, but he just walks out of there.
Icebox actually dropping down to like 0 mana for that fight after he went in the beginning. Not sure if he had smite up. Probably not, but even if he did, he definitely didn't have mana for it. So sadly not going to be able to pick up that kill. It will force Arthas all the way back to base, though, so that's nice. And they are going to be able to, or they being Vex, are going to be able to pick up the experience in top lane, and hopefully the Shrine as well. This is a fantastic opportunity for them to put that pressure on, allowing them to pick up Dragon Knight, but nothing doing there.
It's a very even game in experience right now. Both of them, I think Vex is just ahead barely. But they're holding in there, and there's a fight down at bot. Shrine, it looks like Ravza is getting caught out by the Nova. Uther stun, grenade by Tychus, and Nova drops.
Yeah, unfortunate there. And something to note as well, we do have Envenom on Nova instead of Gathering Power, so maybe not a high burst Nova for endgame, trying to get something going early game, but it hasn't done anything massive just yet. Rafsa actually a new addition to Vex. I know you recently tried out for the team, and apparently they liked him. So it'll be interesting to see how that chemistry builds for them as we go through this game. See if they're really jiving or if there's still kind of a disconnect.
Both
do have
Nexus
both shrines.
Has both shrines. Looks like they're posturing to take it too. Uther and Vala coming down. Falstad may be a little bit overextended, but they don't even bother to go for Falstad. Vala just pokes him down, and they go head on for that dragon. Uther picking up the dragon, and now they're just going to get some damage. It is a little bit later in the game that I think they'll definitely be able to take out that wall. Brightwing popping her ult to push back the Dragon Knight. A little bit weird there, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to do too much. The actual precision strike coming down on the DJ Drazen is good. We haven't seen any ults come out from Nexus Champ though, so that's really dangerous. Actually 3 ults being burned from Vex. Not sure if I agree with those early uses, as once this Dragon Knight goes down, if they do push out, some bad things could happen.
Looks like since old One Eye is very low in the Dragon Knight, is just going to use that Fire Breath to try and apply damage, take out as much as he can. Mid looks like it's about to lose. Yep, there goes one tower. Only one tower remains. The wall is already taken out. He's running up to top lane, and everybody's just
I like the use of the dragon, the way that he's doing it. He's keeping it low. He has gotten a couple of heals, so he's up from 2% to 8%, but that's only, what, like 400 health, maybe? Any skill shot will hit him and just kind of take it out. He does go up top, clear the top creeps, though, you know, no big deal. They are able to pick up giants as well. This will allow for some pressure down bottom, and again, actually, no, I lied. All of the ults are ready to go.
It looks like there's about to be an engagement. Falside popping both of his bribes onto those giants to pick him up. Arthas right in the front. Tyrael pops his ult. Rain of Vengeance coming down, hitting so many members of Vex Gaming. Icebox getting in the middle of it. 3 members melt for Vex Gaming, and Nexus Champ just moves on and takes out the Tassadar as they chase him down, and Nova can't do anything but run away. And they kill the Giants before they can even get into lane. So not only do they pick up a 4 for none, but they have their Giants pushing bot lane, and it looks like they're posturing to go for Vex's Knights.
Yeah, I mean, the Knights pickup is fine, but it's kind of weird. You have an open fort, and you can take it. Knights don't really give all that much anymore in terms of pressure. They don't heal. They don't keep a lane push. They just kind of go into lane, do a mediocre amount of damage, then die. I much would have rather seen them take out the majority of mid, or even swing down the bottom and clear out whatever they have down there with their giants. But it's okay. They got what they could. They did get a little bit more experience.
Healing well trained,
right.
Going for Nexus Champ.
Yeah. Everyone go drink up. We're gonna fight.
Definitely, though, I agree. They should have done a little bit more. One of their giants remains with very little life. They finish off taking out that lower well. Going for those bottom giants, I think now they can apply pressure. They do have that talent advantage over Vex Gaming, so if they want to pick an engagement, they definitely can, although they used a lot of their ultimates. That Rain of Vengeance was sick by Skippy, hitting so many members.
Yeah,
they're just letting their giants die.
Yeah, I mean, they realize that they have... Nexus Champ has a lot longer cooldowns on their ultimates. Almost all of them are at least 10 to 20 seconds longer than Vex, but the one that obviously isn't is Divine Storm, because for whatever reason it's only 70 seconds, and that's really all they had up at that time, so if they decided to fight there, they would be ultless, and it would have been a very dangerous situation. Although, though, I do think that they could have taken it.
Uther goes in, stunning the Nova. Nova's very low. Tyrael ults, and they pick off the Nova. Falsehead using Shock and Awe. Brightwing using Push Away. Icebox has to run away from behind him, and they pick up Nova very quickly, and nothing more really happens. Rain of Vengeance going down on Falsehead and Brightwing. Both of the waves hitting Falsehead, dropping him a little bit low, but no more kills, just a lot of damage, and taking out Nova is huge. And they don't have any shrines though, so they can't pick up the dragon right now. They have to try and get that.
Yep, the binding goes onto the Brightwing, but still nothing doing. We do see that Uther did say, all right, you know what? We're not going to get anything done here. We're not going to push any forwards. I'm going to go break top shrine. You guys just kind of chill mid. D-Day just standing on the point right now. Kind of strange. Icebox tries to go and do something. Will they be able to get a pick here? I don't know. It doesn't look like it. They will effectively back it down, and actually Odin gets burned. Interesting call.
Brightwing's a little bit overextended, gets snared, and is going to drop instantly. Precision Strike nailing the Vala, taking her out. Archon is popped. Looks like Tyrael is chasing away the Arthas, but that Odin, Bloodlust now is popped for both Uther, for the entire team. Arthas falls down, everybody's very low. Tychus pops out of Odin, he drops dead. And Falsehead barely surviving with a sliver of health. And the supports remain for Nexus champ. That was a great engagement, even though Vex lost 2 members. Pretty good, especially for how many ults were popped.
Yeah, I mean, the counter engage was huge. That Precision Strike alone, pretty much, I don't want to say it won them the fight, but man, oh man, did it help. Rapsod now actually going to get out of position a little bit. The Emerald Wind probably not needed, but it's a relatively short...
Oh, and a great storm to land on Rehgar to pick him off.
Nice.
So that's a 4-for-2 exchange then, and all for that. That's really good for Vex Gaming to bring them back into this. I mean, the experience now, they're almost even.
Yeah, I mean, it's anyone's game for sure at this point. It's a little bit easier for Nexus champ to push through if they win a team fight, as they have already broken down a couple of the walls. But we do see that there is a wide open fort down bottom if Vex has the opportunity to get it, and it looks like we just keep swinging these shrines back and forth. One team has both of them. Fight goes down, other team takes control of it. Fight goes down, other team goes. So now we're looking back and forth. We do have double giants fighting each other in bottom lane. They're gonna meet each other real soon, shake hands, and Vala is not in the lane right now. So if Vex wants to take a fight, now is the time to do it. If they realize that that shrine gets broken.
Arthur's trying to land a snare on Brightwing, doesn't get it. The neutralization by Vala is much needed because if they lose that fight, they're going to lose a dragon and more. And it looks like Vex is rotating down bot, finishes off the giants, and they have 2 healthy giants, and they're posturing to take that lower fort. Nexus champ is rotating down. Vala is very far behind, but they definitely don't want to engage onto that turret, fort, sorry. And both teams now have their level 16 talents, so I think we're about to see some crazy engagements and tons of turnarounds and fights, and I'm looking
all kinds of goodies. Yeah, we do have double rewind, double overdrive on the main damage dealers from Vex, so that's extremely scary if they're allowed to set that up. Grenade range being taken by AG Echo. He'll be able to knock them around.
Arthas going in. Tyrael pops his ult on Arthas. Hold one eye hits a 4-man ult. Vala hits a nice ult on Nova. Nova drops very quickly, but both Rehgar and Vala are very low and have to run away. Odin gets sheeped. Brightwing's very low. Everybody is very low in this fight. Icebox is very aggressive. Arthas trying to chase down the Tassadar. Tyrael drops, though, in the meantime. They get the stun on Brightwing, and now Falstad's getting chased by enemy Nexus champ. So, and he will drop for the 5-for-none for Nexus champ. Great fight. Everybody was so low in that, and Nexus champ picks up the 5-for-nothing, and they'll get a dragon out of this.
Yeah, that was really well done. I was on the verge of saying that I really wanted to see Nexus champ come in from behind instead of going in and defending their fort at first and, swinging through anyways, but it didn't matter. We saw the aggression from Arthas, and I know that the reason that they didn't go in from behind right away was because Bloodlust was actually on the 7-second cooldown. So the second that they said, okay, I have Bloodlust, they went in for it, and bad stuff happened. Well, good for them.
Great pickup, waiting for that ultimate to come pop up. It looks like D-Day Drazen takes that mid fort, gives them that much more experience. They now have a 2-level lead. AG Echo damaging the bottom fort. It's below half health. Looks like they're posturing to take that one as well.
I would have liked to see Dragon Knight gone top instead of bottom. Bottom is really easy to take at pretty much any point because you have all 6 of those golems down, or sorry, giants down bottom, and actually the kick comes out on the Brightwings. I don't want you to be here, but top fort still exposed. They can swing on top if they want to do that. If they want to just say, you know what, let's start the race to the 20 right now. We're already 2 levels ahead. Let's keep pushing our advantage. We'll just break down. Hopefully they break down this middle wall, or at least put some serious damage on it. They didn't need to rotate everyone up there, but you know what? They'll be safe and they'll do it. There shouldn't really be any kind of engage here from Vex unless something crazy happens and someone gets really out of position. The bridge actually blocking the kick.
Looks like they're going in. Arthas lands a sick ult on the Falstad. A 3-man Rain of Vengeance by Vala. Tyrael, Brightwing, and Falstad drop very quickly. Nova gets picked up right afterwards. Tassadar pops his Archon, but he has nothing to fight with. Nobody in his front line, and he's going to get picked as well. Very clean 5-0 for Nexus champ. What a pick by Arthas.
Really, really dangerous. I don't know why Falstad decided to use Overdrive and Rewind there. His first hammer didn't really do anything, and he didn't actually get to use his zap in the first place. So he burned Rewind on not even a full rotation, and it didn't do any damage, and it put him out of position, which allowed that Arthas to get the pick. And it just... a lot of things went wrong there that didn't need to happen. It's one of those situations where you just kind of cut your losses and back away. But because they didn't do that, they lost all 5 people. They're going to lose giants down bottom on both sides. And
every
potentially,
camp.
yeah, everything. Like the entire
map is turning
just,
red.
Yeah, it's just bathed in blood. And so now Nexus champ, they have their pick of whatever they want to do. Ideally, they'll wait until 20 before they go in. They'll pick up these bottom giants and then possibly look for a pick once they hit 20. And if they do that, after they're 20, they should be able to almost finish the game. We'll see what they end up doing here. They need about 1 to 2 more creep waves. Actually, probably only 1 at this point to get that level 20. And if I'm Vex right now, I'm scared, and I'm hoping that my Nova makes one hell of a play as this fight starts and just absolutely obliterates someone.
Has to land a very nice precision strike. Definitely a little bit more difficult to land though, as the Brightwing has that pushback. Falstad using his shock and awe, but it doesn't really hit any. A healing totem is dropped, and it's as if he didn't do anything. Icebox coming though in the back onto Falstad. Persistent strike doesn't hit anybody as the Brightwing counteracts it by pushing everybody away. Rain of Vengeance doesn't hit too many units. It looks like Brightwing's very low and running away. Odin is popped. Tyrael drops very quickly. Tassadar is running away in Archon form. He is taken out of the fight. Another great engagement and a misplay though by the Brightwing and Nova. Uther does drop though as he tries to get the Brightwing. Brightwing is very low, gets sniped out by the Uther Ghost. And Falstad's running away from the Uther Ghost. He's still being chased down. Nova is now getting picked up by the Uther, and he will Nova get into the safety zone? Yes, Nova gets into the safety zone, but a great engagement by Nexus champ. It looks like Brightwing pushed everybody out of Nova's ult.
Yeah, the Brightwing, little silly. D-Day actually barely being able to survive through here, and this should be game. The Storm Shield goes down, and that right there is the reason why you are not allowed to lose a team fight when the enemy team is level 20 and pushing in onto your keep. Because the second that happens, they will just kind of steamroll the rest of the game, and there's nothing your core can do to stop that. So, well played. They're a little sloppy in the beginning of the game for both teams, but you know what? They brought it back. I would say after about like level 12, 13, we started seeing Nexus champ really just start winning fights, like hard 5-0 fights, and they just extended their lead to a point where really Vex didn't have an option to come back. And I don't know what do you think that early shock and awe was for at the beginning of that engage?
I have no idea. They maybe could have been trying to poke down the Giants, but they weren't that low of health, and there was no real nothing really to set it up. I mean, you had members on the top side, members on the bottom side, and it was like a field goal straight through all of them. And when they're against a double support, Uther and Rehgar, I really don't know, I don't think that Falstad ult would have done anything, even if it hit every single member on the team. They could just line up, Uther throws his heal out, Rehgar does his chain heal, and then the healing totem. The damage is all negated so quickly when you're against a double support. I really think he should have held on to that shock and awe. I agree.
Really I agree totally. I'm not sure why that shock and awe came out so early. It seemed honestly useless. Any damage that went onto the Giants was just going to get healed away anyways, because they didn't just turn in and immediately dive after that shock and awe went down. It it didn't do enough. And I don't know, it felt like the Falstad player even, and I'm sorry for calling him out, but it felt like throughout the whole game that certain decisions that were made there just didn't make sense to me. Like that early game or the when they were in top lane and he got picked because he used rewind and just wanted to get poke damage down. Like that's not how you do Falstad. It just doesn't make sense. Like if you're gonna be on the front line as Falstad, they're gonna look for you and blow you up. And we saw it. The Arthas pick happened. They were able to turn that to be a 5-for-0 kill, and then because of that, they could just roam around the map. So I would say the biggest thing for me in that match was that Falstad was just his positioning and choices just were a little bit off. If they were even 10 seconds back, they probably would have been a lot better.
Mm.
But it's just, you know, you learn, you move on, and you get better. So hopefully we see game two go a little bit less one-sided near the end. I mean, again, Nexus champ, they hit their stride about mid-game and they didn't break it. They just
Hmm.
went and went and went, and they were so tight for the rest of the game. I'm really
Right.
happy to see that. So
Right when all their ults were up, waiting those extra seconds for the
right.
bloodlust from Rhaegar. I mean, we know Vex Gaming has had a few roster changes, so hopefully they can pull it all together and come back in game two against Nexus Champ. And it looks like it's going to be on Cursed Hollow, but we are going to take a quick commercial break for you guys, so we'll be right back.
Make sure I'm not on faster at the start of this game. That'll be good.
Alrighty, guys, we are back
Hello.
for game two of Vex Gaming versus Nexus Champ. Game one, Nexus Champ a little bit shaky at the start, but they hit their
Yeah.
stride and came back strong, turning the map full red in their favor and taking game one very convincingly once they hit that stride.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the game, even all the way up to pretty much level 15, it went both ways. We had the almost constant skirmish in middle for the Dragon Knight. It kept going back and forth, but obviously it ended up switching at a certain point where Nexus Champ really, as you said, they found their stride. They made it so that they could just do whatever they wanted, and then we saw Vex go down bottom trying to take out an open keep, but because of the way that everything worked out, they ended up just losing their entire roster there due to a pretty much fantastic bloodlust, and
Mm-hmm.
it allowed them to just kind of steamroll through everything. So that was a thing, and Really, really scary stuff. Um, Hopefully we see a better draft this time around. I mean, the draft from Vex was fine, but some of the plays that they were making were a little off, and it seemed like they weren't coordinated enough for that composition to really shine. And I think the Nexus champ one is just so much better just because Bloodlust you can just A move. You're pretty much
Hmm.
playing Protoss at that point. Just you death ball and you A move, and you have Odin, Bloodlust, you have Vala with the
Odin on the
Rain of
Protoss,
Vengeance.
interesting.
Yeah, Odin Toss is basically like it's basically like an upgraded Colossus that just hits really hard and just only single targets. So
Hmm.
that's a thing. Um, I mean, it's a much easier comp to execute, and it's something that I like to see when teams don't feel super stable on chaining things together.
Hmm. It's definitely a great game though. We are going to start to head in to the round two or game two, sorry, of the draft for Nexus Champ and Vex Gaming, and I want to give a huge shout out for this draft that you guys are witnessing to GG Hero. Great display. I've used it as well, and it's awesome. I really love it. Huge shout out, and thank you HPL for putting this on, of course.
Yes. Shout out to Eight Bagels, Mr. Program Extraordinaire.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I
So we're going to head in to game two of this draft.
have like a million draft windows open. I found it. All right, we're good.
All the drafts. So it looks like Nexus Champ banning out that Tyrael. I mean, Icebox was causing some havoc. We are on, by the way, Cursed Hollow, just so you know. So banning the Tyrael, I mean, Icebox was causing a few problems for Nexus Champ. And on Cursed Hollow, there's so many walls that he can come over. So I think this is a really solid ban on their part.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrael on Curse Hollow is really good for a multitude of reasons. He can stall out tributes. He can do all kinds of crazy jumps with Judgment. So if you think you're getting away, you're not really getting away. Um, Rip.
Oh.
We He also has his I don't actually know the name. Do you know the name of the ability that does it blocks people like it does the little circle on the ground? It
Oh.
sucks. I can never remember the name, but it's
Uh,
super useful. I
I
know
don't
it
play
sucks, right?
tier. I
I don't play
actually.
Tyrael either, and I should know this. Um, but it's not Stand Aside. Stand Aside is the Smite one. But basically, when he uses his Blade of Eldraine, and he uses it again, it'll create a little circle on the ground that stops people from being able to go through it.
Mhm.
And on Curse Hollow, that's huge because, as you said, there's so many narrow pathways that if you position it
Ooh, I'm hitting some heavy
appropriately,
lag
it
right
will
now.
just flat out stop a team from being able to engage or run away.
All right, there you go. You're
Rip.
you're back. You were
So
sounding like a
that's
robot.
that. You can take whatever you want.
Oh no, I
Nice.
could get you. I could hear
Sometimes,
you.
you know,
It
you
was
just gotta
weird.
get the, you just gotta get the robot going, man. You get the robot juices going. You get that oil going through the system, and you're all set. Do we have Gazlo? I guess that's pretty robot-y. So
That's
we have
true.
that. Yeah. We
He has
just
a.
go full Gazlo for a little bit.
There you go. I'm trying to find. It is an early talent, but I can't.
I think it's level 13. I
Level
want to say
13.
it might not be. And the hunt is on. Who will find it first?
Ha! Holy Ground, level 16.
There we go.
Ah,
All right.
that's. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
It's a
not too
late
much.
talent, but it's super useful. Like
Yeah.
the other stuff that's on that tier, I mean, you have Blade of Justice, which is nice. It gives you a little bit of a DPS boost because you get the
Oh,
damage for your next basic 3 attacks.
and never
Uh,
mind on the Tyrael ban. It looks like there
yeah,
was a bug in
glitch,
it.
no big deal. We're still talking about Tyrael. Stitch is obviously a great ban on Curse Hollow, pretty much for the same reasons that Tyrael is. He could just disrupt so many things, and if a pick happens on Curse Hollow, it's a really, really low chance that you're going to get away because he can pull you over so many natural barriers. There's 6 different body block locations where you can actually hook someone in, and unless they have like a dash or a teleport or something like that to get out, they actually can't walk past Stitches. So you can literally just pull someone into a corner and say you're not leaving.
Hmm.
That's extremely scary, and you don't want to ever deal with that. So Stitch is banned away, Uther banned away. Uther just one of the best supports in the game,
Uther last game
crazy top
just
tier.
sprinting in and
Yeah.
ulting, setting up the Rain of Vengeance too is really nice. So I could see the ban on that. Tychus followed right after that. I think Tychus, He's been in every single game. I mean, he's a
He's usually in every
solid
game.
hero.
Tychus has one of the highest pick and ban rates in competitive play. I mean, granted, we only have two bans, but the
Hmm.
fact that he's almost picked 100% of the time. Same deal with or picked or banned 100% of the time. Same deal with Tassadar. Same deal with Arthas. I mean, obviously, we're talking about Tychus. Tyrael's approaching that. He's not always there, but a lot of teams like to pick him up. And now with the addition of the two new warriors, it's starting to get a little bit more diversified there. So that's a neat thing. Falstead now has also become pretty much a pure staple. If you don't have Falstead in the
Hmm.
game, it's likely that someone doesn't understand what drafting is happening. And it looks like there's a glitch in the draft. Oh no, we're
Possible.
good. We're good. It's ban. We're good. I lied.
Yeah, we're
I'm
good.
just
Yeah.
dumb.
Falstad's
But
also
we're
really
10 seconds
strong on
away.
Cursed Hollow. I mean,
Falstead's just
the
strong in general.
yeah,
I don't
that's
think he has a
true.
bad map. He has his kit is so good. He's so mobile. He can do so much damage from a safe position, and it's just terrifying.
Fly is never bad on any map, and Arthas being picked by Vex Gaming, strong. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
heals, CC. Arthas was causing problems for Vex Gaming last game, so to have him is always nice. And then Vala
What?
followed up right after. Interesting.
What?
And a noob
That,
Chen quickly followed by
yeah, I
that.
mean,
That's a
there's no reason
strong.
not to. There's honestly
Yeah.
no reason not to. I mean, the fact that we're not seeing Tassadar until, I imagine they're going to pick him up here. Um, the fact that we're not seeing Tassadar until fourth round of picking is really strange to me. But I understand entirely the Anub and Chen.
Taken
Very
away from
interesting to
Vex
see.
Gaming.
Yeah, very interesting to see that Tyrael wasn't picked up. So we could be seeing a double warrior comp on both sides for this map, and it's not something that's uncommon. I mean, Curse Hollow is there's a lot of skirmishes that happen, especially if a tribute spawns in one of the open areas. You'll have a lot of just a lot of general trading back and forth. Brightwing a good pickup as well for that exact reason. A lot of healing comes out of her,
Are they going to
but I'm
follow
not.
up with a Falstad for the double bribe? No, Rhaegar.
I don't. I don't agree with anything that Vex is doing right now. Like I'm just gonna call it out. I just don't. I don't get it. They're leaving open pretty much every option.
Tassadar gets this
Yeah,
far
it's gonna
into
be.
the picks?
It'll be like Tassadar and likely Malfurion, I would
I mean,
imagine.
Brightwing's taken
Yeah, I mean it's a matter
Rhaegar.
of how much healing do they actually want. They could go Falstad here as well, and if they do, then it pretty much shuts down any kind of high damage burst coming out of Nexus Champ. But Tyrael's still on the field or in the pool,
They don't
and
have a
if
healer, though.
right. So I'm talking about for Vex
Oh,
Gaming.
yeah,
If
yeah.
Tyrael gets picked up for Vex Gaming, then if they don't have a healer on Nexus Champ, any damage that goes on in the beginning of the fight is never going to leave. Now, granted, they have the ability to just absolutely out trade this and CC people down. They can Storm Earth and Fire to just jump around everywhere and not have to deal with anything. But it's a really interesting call. I honestly don't know how much I agree with the Tassadar pickup. I probably would have liked to see Falstead and Malfurion instead,
Hmm.
but Tassadar is really good. I mean, it's a perfectly fine pickup. If they put Tassadar into the team, it would have been very hard to cut through them, just because they would have had Brightwing, Rhaegar, and Tassadar. So if the support was on point, whoever got targeted would be just super hard to kill. We aren't going to see that though. We are going to see Falstead as the last pick. So relatively standard it's not necessarily standard, but relatively close to being standard composition from Vex, and definitely something that we haven't seen today on Nexus Champ, where they don't have two of the main DPSers, where you have just pure dedicated assassins, so like a Tychus and a Falstad. They actually have Tassadar as their second damage dealer, but it should be noted that a Nubarak does do a sizable amount of damage if you build him a certain way. So the damage is not lacking on Nexus Champ by any means, and
Hmm.
we'll see how this game goes.
I was just thinking about that Rhaegar pick. Barely, barely grabbed it because Nexus Champ almost had a Bloodlust comp. Odin and Archon. That would
Yeah,
have been
yeah,
scary.
that
So
would have actually been pretty terrifying.
right now, though, it looks like Nexus Champ, they have a really strong draft. I mean, all their heroes are super strong, and the double support coming out for Vex Gaming, hopefully their damage is going to be strong enough. I mean, I don't know if you would want to go strafe on Vala here. I feel Reign of Vengeance is really good just because there's so much CC from Nexus, and I mean uh, the paths are really short that Rain of Vengeance can almost clear out an entire area. So I
Yeah,
think this
I
is going to
mean,
be a pretty good match, but I
it'll be
feel
pretty
Nexus
good.
Champ is
I
strong.
agree. Yeah, we can get into it and we can keep talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you're ready, we can go into the game.
All right, let me bring up the overlay. All right, ready?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, now Strafe or Rain of Vengeance works on this map without a doubt, and for basically for the same reason. If you need CC, obviously Rain of Vengeance is the way to go. But if you need damage, then Strafe, in my opinion, is the way to go because you can strafe very safely on this map. You can find ways to get angles where if say you're fighting around a tribute, you can be on the other side of the wall and you can strafe. And there's not much that they can really do about it. They have two technically, I would say, stops for that. Hitting an impale on a strafing Vala almost never should happen because she's so mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Grenade, yes, that's definitely capable to be done because it's so fast. And the only other one that I would think would happen would be like a silence from Mouth if you got in range for it. But if you're that close to Mouth anyways when you're strafing, you're kind of doing something wrong. So I strafe wouldn't be the worst of ideas here. It's very interesting, and this gank setup from Vex is strange to say the least. They just wait over by the tribute spawn.
They were looking for something, but
Maybe the person to come down through the vision,
we have
probably.
opposing opposite side bush ganks right now from
Yeah.
both Vex and Nexus, just waiting for somebody to rotate through. Oh, and Tassadar gets a glimpse of Arthas and then moves up just to double check. So they know where Arthas and Rehgar are, so it looks like Nexus is going to move themselves down to try and gank follow, but that's going to be a very tough lane gank. I mean, her vault is so strong, so
Yeah.
it looks like
I
they're
mean,
gonna
it
back
is
out.
and it isn't. If they hit the impale and Mouth can follow it up with roots, then she won't be able to vault out. But the fact that they gave up on it says obviously they don't want to deal with that, and they are rotating to deal with this vision being capped in top. Now, trying to gank a Chen is, in my opinion, silly. It doesn't really make sense for them, but we do see a pretty big fight already happening.
Tychus is using his overdrive, does a great grenade onto Rehgar and Arthas. A great route by Anubarak. Brightwing getting a little bit caught out. I don't think she's going to be able to get out of it. No, and she gets caught. That was a great pick and nice rotation from Nexus Champ to move up and pick off the Brightwing.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as it is that that kill happened, if Crexus had just stayed in mid and pushed the minion wave straight to tower, it actually would have benefited Vex Gaming because of the way experience works early game. And we talked about this earlier. We talked about how first blood doesn't usually mean almost anything if it happens within the first 3 kills, or rather the first 3 levels. And we see that Vex is actually just a tiny bit behind, and they do have a pretty big creep wave up top. So they should be just perfectly fine as the game progresses, but they are going to have to deal with a very well-timed early batch of Giants in top lane.
I think this is all going to come down to the RNG of where this curse is going to spawn. Both teams getting their Giants. It all depends where it's going to pop.
Lissa got to be careful. Gank is looking.
Yep, they're hunting. They're sitting in the bushes, and it's on the top side, and Glissa just goes, overextends. Anubarak with the pop-up. Glissa running the wrong way, and I don't think Glissa's going to get out of this alive. Drops, and this is huge, although Brightwing will be able to spawn and just blink right back up. So it's a nice pickup, gets him a little bit of XP boost, but isn't going to be a game changer by any means.
No, not at all. We do still have Vala and Malfurion down bottom, and we have 2 people from Vex just chilling in mid. They probably could have contested that if they really wanted to. As you said, Brightwing can just fly in, rather teleport in, and not have to worry about anything, but they just give it up, they back away, and again, even though that death did occur, the kill was given again to Nexus Champ. Experience value is not that far off, but this is a great idea to pick up these knights. It will give them, granted they get clairvoyance, so they know that they're there, but if they are able to pick up these knights, it'll give them a sizable chunk of experience toward level 7, and hopefully they'll have level 7 before the next tribute spawns. That's a really big pickup. Tassadar being here, kind of silly, because they're actually going to lose not too much experience, but a little bit of experience that may have given them the level 7 bump already, but Knights will do it. So it's all good. We see the responding knights from Vex, however, so both teams should be level 7 by the time next tribute spawns.
And this tribute spawning on Nexus Champ's side when they're getting knights, so they will be able to posture up and try and counteract wherever Vex Gaming comes in. Tassadar popping his Oracle Vision, being able to see where everybody is coming from, backing out though, otherwise he may get melted. It looks like they may engage. Brightwing blinking down, so this is a 5v4. Nice delay onto the Anubarak. Tassadar getting a huge overdrive off on everybody, and it looks like Nexus Champ is going to have to back out. Damage is being split. Arthas is behind, chasing Anub out. Anub doesn't have anything to do to get out. And the whole team, Vex Gaming is surrounding them. False falls though for Vex. Nice pickup by Nexus Champ. Arthas still in the back trying to chase, not doing too much though. Vex Gaming though is between a rock and a hard place, trying to catch Rehgar out. Old One Eye diving in, going for Rehgar. Chen going for Vala. Tons of damage out. Everybody is very low health. This whole time, Tychus is just overdriving. Takes out Rehgar. Looks like Chen's drinking away to try and keep that shield up, where Arthas and them are trying to poke him out. Brightwing drops. Chen barely gets out alive. Falstad flies in as Arthas falls. And that was a huge trade. But Nexus Champ is just posturing to look so strong. I mean, they won that. Chen survived with very little health. Tychus the whole time got out with very little health, and that was a big engagement and big team fight.
Yep. The positioning on Vex's part was just a little bit off. They actually chased and split up at the same time onto an Anubarak, and because of that, Anub was able to swing that fight around. He was able to jump into a burrow strike, knock 2 people up as he came out of it, hit the impale afterwards, and we saw the fight swing from right there. Basically, a 4v5 happened. They stalled it out until Chen got down there. Brightwing obviously had the advantage because she could teleport down, but because she was there, because Chen was able to get there before any kills happened, they were able to flip the fight around, and then just a constant like misplay, honestly, from a lot of people happening over and over. Ended up with Nexus Champ taking that fight away, and a really, really good heads-up play from D-Day Drazen as we see both teams taking their golems respectively. But a really good play from D-Day Drazen, noticing that the Brightwing was in a bad position and actually used her to jump away to keep himself alive. So just something that teams still aren't very much used to, that they're actually not used to putting themselves in the right position to stop Chen from being able to save himself. A lot of times you'll see people trying to like get in front of him to stop him from being able to run away. Actually, will the Envenom go down on him? It looks like it already has, actually. He's going to be able to just drink it away up top and live through pretty much anything because he's Chen.
Yep. Any damage that's done to me, I'll just drink it away and I won't feel the pain, apparently, for Chen. The tribute is down a bot.
Imagine they just give this up.
They've got a golem pushing for him, and it looks like Vathan wants to get it. Brightwing's blinking down. They don't have Chen. Both teams are level 10, so Anub and Chen aren't there. It looks like a Nexus Champ is just going to try and delay them for as long as possible while Chen tries to deal damage to the golem, and Anubarak takes Giants while this is all happening. Icebox, though, Arthas popping his ghouls and trying to chase down Tychus, but I don't think anything's really going to come from that. It was a very interesting pick to pop that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just running into towers, taking a lot of damage. He will be able to heal up, so he shouldn't die from this. But a very questionable call. Granted, they did have the numbers advantage in their favor, but after he missed the Howling Blast, there really wasn't any reason to continue that chase. And luckily, it didn't cost him his life, but it may end up costing them a team fight, as he will not have that ult up for whenever the next fight happens, which may be on bottom, as it looks like Nexus Champ realizes that there's 3 people mid. This is an open fort. We might as well just take it.
Definitely, knowing that Arthas just popped his ult, you don't really have to worry about that. And they can also see that Rehgar and Brightwing are at mid, so they can just pressure this. A sad day for the Giants, as they were just picked up by the Falstad. I missed if he bribed it, but they're not really going to get that far. D-Day Drazen going in with his root kick to pressure out that Vala. Another interesting shock and awe ult by Falstad. I don't really think that poke was going to do a whole lot. I mean, they have Malfurion, and
yeah, I mean, it just didn't do anything. It did literally nothing. So now he's gonna have his ult down for about 90 seconds, or rather a little bit shorter than that, because it is only a 90-second ult. But he will not have it for this tribute, and that's very scary. We have the entire ult lineup ready for Nexus Champ, and the engage is about to happen.
Anubarak's going in. Odin is popped. Anubarak dropping very low, barely walking out with the Tranquility, healing him. Vala's strafing. Brightwing's getting caught in the middle of it, gets taken out. Arthas now sitting there with very few ghouls left. He is dropping down the entire time. Chen and Anubarak chasing out their DPS. Falstad falls. Vala is in hot pursuit with Chen right behind. Arthas falls. DJ Drazen's going to take out Vala. Rehgar gets out. That is a 4-for-0 exchange. And Anubarak's not done. He wants to take out Rehgar. but he is not
I mean,
going
he
to be able to
can.
catch him.
They did get a curse. If he decided to commit on that, and Rhaegar decided to stay around, he absolutely could have flipped that. Just because curse happened, we do see that Knights are trying to be picked up by Dita Drazen. He will not actually get pinged out, it looks like, although we do have Brightwing moving over here to their Knights, and this will be at least one fort. Should be the second one in mid if they play this correctly. They are getting pinged out on Knights, but if Vex decides to engage in this, it could actually end up being even worse for them than it already is. I don't recommend that they try to fight this.
They're already a talent down. They need to hit level 13, and they don't have it yet, and they're cursed, so they definitely do not want to fight in anything right now, and it looks like Nexus Champ is pressuring. A root kick goes down on Glissa. A nice stun by Anubarak, and they take out Brightwing. Another great pick.
It's an issue that we see with a lot of players that are coming into the game, and they really want to defend anything that's pushing. They want to defend mercs that are pushing, and for whatever reason, even if they're ranged, they like to be on the outside of the wall, and that's just not something you should ever do. If it doesn't matter if you're against Stitches or not, if you're defending something and you can be in a safer place, watch your positioning and stay behind the wall. That right there is textbook reason why you do it, because if an enemy team sees you out, they think that you're squishy, they'll take that free kill, and at this point in the game, kills are not negligible. Granted, they are 2 levels up, so that the experience that they get is a little bit lower than they would normally get if teams are even, but now they're going to be definitely hitting level 16 with a 2-level advantage, and that's extremely scary. We see the pings coming out for Golem up top, and that's the right call in my opinion. If Nexus Champ wants to go for a enemy Golem and force a fight there, they should be able to hit level 16 before they go in. Will this give it to them? No, just barely. Not.
Oh, there you go. They just got it.
Yeah, they just got it. All right, they're good now. And so if they go for this Golem up top, I have no idea what Nexus, or rather,
Icebox trapping himself in the corner.
No.
What was he doing? He can't even get out. He gets dropped so quickly. Glissa trying to get away, has Blink Heal and will top out. Chen, though, popping his ultimate, Storm Earth Fire, chasing down the enemy team. Doesn't look like Nexus Champ will get any more, but that was a great pick. I am interested to know
Icebox
why.
definitely wanted to do it so that he could go in there and be stealthy, quote unquote. But because they're against a Tassadar, he's just going to Oracle and see you. If they weren't against a Tassadar, probably would have been okay. He definitely wouldn't have thrown the Impale or the Burrow Strike over there. But because the Clairvoyance came out, or rather the Oracle came out, and he was seen, he should have saw the eye above him and moved away, but he just straight up didn't. And now, this play that Nexus Champ is doing it's alright. They have the ability to pressure pretty much anything they want. Bottom is actually already open. They could go take down the rest of that tower, or rather use this tribute to take down the rest of the bottom keep. And I hope that they do that. They don't need any more tributes for any amount of time. And it looks like they are pushing down bottom. Now, whether or not they're going to take this and say that they're going to go in on bottom, I don't know. It looks like they're backing away. It's a strange call because they're definitely never going to make it up to that tribute. And they kind of just wasted about 20 seconds, 30 seconds of time doing effectively nothing. Like, they're not even helping do the Golem either. So they just have 3 members sort of wandering around the map right now.
I think they definitely could have pushed. They have Merklord as well on a Nubarak. And so they had Merklorded Giants and a Golem, and they decided just to leave them to die. Next, Vex is going to take top 4 to try and even up that lead. They now have level 16, so they're even. And Nexus Champ is posturing to take out bottom keep.
Yep. Now, they could have done this earlier, but it's alright. They're doing it now, and they will have a Golem to push with this. The issue, though, is that now if they try to fight, they're on equal tiers for talent. So whatever lead they had before in terms of massive jump, not there anymore. They still have the stats lead. And
All of a sudden using Shock and Awe doesn't get anything. Vala getting caught out by Anubarak and Chen. Chen popping out ulti very quickly. This leaves Arthas to pop into the background. The Golem landing a huge stun onto the Rhaegar. Rhaegar falls so quickly. Next is Brightwing. Vala was already picked off by Anubarak and Chen, and it looks like Icebox has nowhere else to run. Nexus Champ surrounds him and kills him, and then very nice stun by Old One Eye, taking out Falstad with the Chen root kick to follow up, and that looks like it will be game over for Vex Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've seen a lot of really strange shock and odds today, especially in this matchup. They come out early, they don't hit much, and it's kind of the same thing that we saw from the Void Prison earlier, where if you use an ultimate of that magnitude, like Void Prison and Shock and Awe are two absolutely game-changing heroic abilities. If you use them and they don't have any massive effect, then it's pretty much just a red flag for the enemy team to say, okay, it's good, let's go. Like we can
Hmm.
hard engage this. They're not going to be able to fight back, and we saw it there. It opened a door. They absolutely just ran through it, sprinted through. They burrow charged through the door. They found Vala. The first knockup hit her. The roots went down on top of it, and then a rewind to completely secure the kill on her. So she had no counterplay. They didn't even really have to worry about Falstead because again, he
Shock
doesn't have ult
was
anymore.
gone.
So why even bother looking at him? And they were able to turn and focus the appropriate things. It's very strange to see fights where Falstead is actually just the last one to die. Like Arthas died before Falstead, and
Hmm.
that's when you know that at some point you've messed something up on Falstead where you just aren't a threat at all, and that's your main job. So my biggest thing for this game is that Falstead needs to be a bigger threat. They need to play that hero a little bit. They need to play it up a little bit more. He just didn't have the pressure that I would like to see from Falstead.
Definitely, I agree. That was very interesting picks, and the double support with Brightwing Rhaegar, more interesting picks. I feel they could have done a little bit better in their draft, and there were a few just catches that Vex had. I think with the new roster, definitely give them a little bit of time. I know it takes some time to get used to a new roster, everybody getting on that same wavelength and knowing what one another is doing. So I think Vex Gaming a little bit rough here, but give them a little bit of time. I think they can come back and be a really strong team.
Yeah, I mean, there's no at no point are we or we're not at a point right now to say this team will never make it or this team will always be the best.
Hmm.
I mean, we've seen teams rise and fall. We've seen teams completely disband already. So there's no
It's
there's no
alpha.
certainties yet. Yeah, there's no certainties at all. And I'm excited to see how the community progresses. Again, we have HPL, we have open tournaments that are happening all the time now. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to get in, and we have HPL in the EU. So it's not like it's only NA either. Like it's a global scene that's developing, and it's really cool to see where people bring this game and where they bring their teams. I'm excited.
Definitely. I'm super excited and super excited that I got to be invited to cast this event. It was my first, so
You
thank
did good.
you
You did good.
for bearing with me. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, GG Hero, for the draft system. Very nice. I like it. I use it. I love it. And HPL, thank you as well. HPL will be back tomorrow morning for Heroes Premier League Europe Week 4 at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 5 p.m. Central. Um,
That's it.
Thank you again, everybody. I hope
Yeah,
you have a
thanks.
great night.
Where can people find you, Mr.
Oh,
Pickles?
you can find me at 2Arc Gaming on Twitter, and then you can find everybody else there as well on my team. Just to, I mean, yeah,
Nice.
2Arc,
Yeah.
and then
2 Arc. Shout out 2 Arc. I was on 2 Arc, so represent.
yep, just search 2Arc, and then the members of my team, you'll find us there. But 2Arc Gaming, you'll find all of us there. And then, how about you? See you, Steve.
I mean, I'm CSC. You can find me in
Everybody
pretty
knows
much
See you,
anything that's
Steve.
yeah, anything that's if you Google CSC, you'll find me. If you look on Reddit, I'm there. I'm one of the mods there. I run my own events, and I mean, if there's hero stuff going on, chances are I'm involved in some way. So pop into chat, say hi. I'm usually there. I pretty much live for this game at this point. So thank you guys for showing up today. Thank you to all 300 of you that are watching. If any of you that haven't tuned in, if this is your first time here, thank you for sticking through it. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks, HBL, for running this. Thank you to all the teams that played. And we will see you tomorrow, bright and early.
Take care, everybody. Have a good night.